Well, I was super impressed with a campaign that we brought on really recently. It's a financial institution. It's nationwide, super well known. And you think, okay, they've got to be pretty sophisticated, and they are. They're smart, and they know what they're doing. But we just had a couple things that we did. So, Jacob, I think it would be real interesting if you talked about that kind of branded experience that you and your team created for this client and what happened.
Yeah, no, I can definitely do that. So in this certain use case, we were calling a portfolio. So it was a current customer base, and we were trying to increase this company's recapture rate, or in other words, that we were trying to ensure that those customers continued to work with this company and continue to transact with this company. So we created really our contact rate was paramount, and then our conversion on those contacts. So when we got a hold of somebody, we've got to make sure that we take advantage of that and that we get them, one, a great experience, and two, we get them over to someone licensed to be able to pitch them and get them into their sales funnel. So when we met with them, we kind of reviewed the relationship that they had with these leads and this customer base, and we decided we were going to test some branded calls. So we started doing some branded calls early on in the call cadence, along with some SMS work, in order to drive inbounds back into our team. Now, something that I'll always say is when you're building cadences and you're building contact strategies, test. Like test your assumptions. You might think that something's going to happen this way, and it might happen a completely different way. This is one of those cases where I had an assumption or a hypothesis that was actually proven to not be true. So my thought was, when we have this branded call experience with this pocket of leads, contact rates are going to increase because they already have some brand loyalty to this client. But what I found after a couple weeks was that the contact rates were like basically the same, but our conversion rate on those contacts was up by 30%, and the number of inbound calls that were routing back into our team were up by 30%. So what was happening is we were actually getting hold of the people who had real intent at a much higher clip than we were prior. And the calls that were routing in through our internal inbound queue were actually closing at an extremely high rate on the client side. Like it became one of their top performing campaigns. And that wasn't what I thought. What I assumed was that contact rates were going to jump, and we were just going to talk to a whole lot more people, and that would ultimately give us more on the back end. But what we found was, by creating a branded customer experience, we were able to find the customers with the most intent that were most prone to transact. And now, we do that on an ongoing basis for this partner, and it's been a great campaign for both of us. So I think always make sure that you test. Something else that I want to touch on too is a lot of these partners are like publicly traded.
Yeah, they're big names.
They're big names. You see them on, Yahoo Finance. You see them
on stadiums.
Stadiums. Like, and with that, not only do we want to make sure that they have a great return on investment, but we need to manage their risk and the exposure that they have to to nefarious parties.
Yep.
So doing things like litigator scrubs and DNC scrubs, we try to implement strategies that will help mitigate some of that risk to ensure that everything we do is super compliant and buttoned up. The answer can't always be more aggressive. It can't be send 50 texts on day one and make 100 calls over the course of 20 days. It's like, why can't we send 3 texts and call 10 times over the course of 2 weeks and get the same contact rate as someone who's just building? And you can, and that's what we do. But not only are we going to get a hold of the same amount of people, but those people are going to be left with a much more positive perception of that brand.